In this video, we will be going over some alarm gates using for a aluminum test, surface test. Here we got a small probe, not a pencil probe, it's a conductivity probe. But I'm going through about 3 millimeters of aluminum. And I'm looking for stuff on the back side. This is a big groove. We could just say this simulates corrosion. And then we have some near surface defects on here. So I'm going to be looking for near surface and far surface discontinuities. And this is aluminum. So I'm just going to set that plate down. I'm going to touch my probe to it. Now you know that liftoff is the most troublesome variable in eddy current testing. So we always want to keep that minimized, because if we lift off a little bit, you're going to decrease your test sensitivity and increase the chance that you'll miss a flaw. We don't want that. So one of the alarm gates we're going to set up is a negative gate, and that will ensure that we stay inside of that operating point circle. If we go outside of it by lifting off a little bit, we'll get a beep, and that alerts you to, hey, pay more attention to keeping your probe normal to the surface or flat on the surface. Now we have near surface flaws. That's one of them right there. Notice, I mean, it's big because it's a big flaw, but notice the phase angle of that. It has pretty low phase, it's probably 20 degrees or so. But then if I go over and scan past my OD flaw, where is it? Right there. That's in a different phase window because it takes longer for the eddy currents to get to the back surface of the part, so you get more phase lag. So there's the 3 different gates that we're going to set up. So let's start with alarm number 1. We're going to make that a positive alarm. We're going to have to hit this alarm button. We're going to do a box. We're going to adjust the top down. We're going to adjust the bottom down. Where do I want that? The right. Now, if you don't want to catch all the little stuff, or maybe you got some noise, you might want to take that over a little bit. Usually your test procedures will define the settings for alarm gates. But right there, it's far enough away from our operating point where it's not going to be going off all the time. But if you get a decent sized discontinuity close to the surface, it should go through that box and set off an alarm to alert you to pay more attention and to further investigate. All right, for alarm 2, it's going to be another positive alarm. So anytime anything enters this box, but I want to change it to a different type. So let's see how we do that. Alarm 2, we change it to sector. We're going to use a sector alarm. So for the sector, it's very sensitive, this smart knob. We can adjust the radius. So I'm going to do the start angle. We're going to say anything from there to approximately there. So anything from that angle to that angle is going to trigger the alarm. And for the outer diameter, we're going to just bring that down to somewhere like that. And let's see, I want to bring that just to show you how you can set these things. And then the third alarm is going to be, let's see, alarm 3, we're going to do a circle. It's going to be negative, okay? So here I go back to alarm 3. Shape, I'm going to make it into a polar, okay? And then I'm going to lower the position. No. I hit the wrong button. Vertical. I'm going to bring that circle down. We're going to bring it over to the right a little bit. We're going to bring the radius down. Okay, so those are our 3 alarms. Now we're going to test out how well those settings will work. So we're going to turn the horn on, even though that's going to be annoying. You're going to see how it works. Erase. The reason that's going off right now is because one of the alarms wants to make sure that our operating point is within that circle. So as soon as it enters that circle and I hit erase, see how it goes off? As long as I keep my probe flat on the surface, it's going to stay in there. All right, so a little adjustment's needed here. Little adjustment. We need to be a little bit more forgiving on that. So let's go back to alarm 3. And for the radius, we're going to have to go a little bit bigger on that one. And these can overlap. There's nothing saying you can't overlap. how about we do that? Then let's see how that one works. So let's go back to main. And we will erase. Well, I got to turn the alarm back on because you want to hear the beep, right? Everybody likes the beep. Uh-oh, now I changed that. Alarm 1's positive. Alarm 1's positive. There you go. Okay, horn on. Okay, see how that went away as soon as my operating point entered that circle? So when we're scanning, I'm moving my probe across my material now. As long as you got your probe flat on the surface and there's no flaws, that alarm's not going to go off. As soon as you rock the probe a little bit, it's saying, hey, get back on there. Pay attention to your scanning, buddy. Okay. Now we're going to show you how the rectangle gate works. As I scan over that surface flaw, see how every time I go over that? So sometimes you're getting an alarm from the operating point going outside of that circle. We're going to adjust that one more time. Okay, we're going to turn that off, and we're going to make alarm 3. Let's see, to adjust it, we got to go here. We're going to make that radius a little bit bigger. That's going to give us a little more leeway on the liftoff because we don't always want the thing going off. Because if it's always going off, we're going to turn it off, and then we're not going to be able to use it to our advantage. So now I'll go back here, and I erase, null. See, so now when I scan, oh, I got to turn the horn back on. Lots of settings here. We have lots of settings. Be patient with eddy current. Scanning away with my probe inside the circle, no noise. But when I scan that surface flaw, it's going to go off. I'm still scanning away. I'm scrubbing my material with that probe. I pass that surface flaw again, alarm goes off. Now, I'm going to scan over to the other part of my material, trying to keep the probe normal to the surface. I'm keeping constant pressure on it. But now I'm going to scan over my OD flaw, or the far surface groove. And as soon as I do that, if it enters that segment gate, I'll get an alarm. See that? Every time I go over that far surface flaw, it enters that segment and I get an alarm. And that's going to alert me, the operator, to go and investigate further. There's our sector alarm, there's our near surface alarm, and then our liftoff alarm. See? All right, that's the end of the video.